Ancient history follows a brutal, predictable path. Civilizations that suffer total military collapse eventually dissolve. The Babylonians, Hittites, and Assyrians all vanished into the cultural and genetic background of the groups that defeated them. For millennia, the world's greatest powers made the exact same mistake. They marched onto the Iranian plateau certain they could erase this civilization forever. This land faced the full weight of Macedonian phalanxes, the rapid expansion of Arab armies, and the extreme physical destruction of the Mongol hordes. Based on the historical record of every other fallen empire, the Iranian identity should have been permanently erased after these catastrophic blows. Instead, Iran survived through cultural absorption. Within decades of a conquest, the invaders who had burned the cities were often speaking the Persian language, adopting the local bureaucracy, and building in the Persian style. This survival trait traces back to a specific set of ancient roots. The primary weapon forged in these mountains was never a piece of military technology, but a radical new ideology. Long before the rise of Christianity or Islam, Zoroastrianism emerged here. It framed the entire universe as a total, uncompromising war between a god of light and truth and a spirit of absolute evil and darkness. This religion mapped the conflict onto the actual landscape. The nomadic steppes were seen as the realm of darkness, meaning to be Iranian was to be a warrior actively assisting the forces of good. This tradition first declared time was not a circle, but linear, moving toward a final judgment. In Babylon, Jewish thinkers adopted these ideas. From there, linear time and final judgment flowed into the foundation of global theology. This shared belief system provided a unified cultural armor. While a king could be killed or a capital burned, the underlying identity of the people remained intact, even under foreign occupation. In 330 BC, Alexander the Great crushed the Persian army and burned the capital of Persepolis, seemingly ending 1,000 years of history. But the culture began to methodically digest its conqueror. Alexander himself started wearing Persian clothes and adopted the very court etiquette he had just overthrown. Nearly 1,000 years later, the Arab Caliphate conquered the region, bringing a new religion and language that permanently replaced the native identities in places like Egypt and Syria. The Persians responded by making themselves indispensable. They entered the new administration as scholars, poets, and bureaucrats, eventually running the day-to-day operations of the Caliphate. The result was a cultural counterstrike. Arab rulers adopted Persian governance methods, and the Farsi language outlived the empire that attempted to replace it. Military defeat became a tool for infiltration. By losing the physical battle, they maintained the influence necessary to win the cultural war. The most extreme test arrived in 1220 with the Mongols. Genghis Khan and his descendants did not just conquer, they wiped entire cities off the map and destroyed infrastructure that had functioned for centuries. Yet within a few generations, these conquerors converted to Islam and made Persian the official language of their state. The descendants of the men who destroyed the cities began funding Persian poets and building the elaborate blue-domed mosques that would eventually define the landscape. The Iranian cultural code proved infectious. It turned fearsome steppe nomads into protectors of the arts and urban centers they originally intended to destroy. By the 20th century, Western colonial powers treated the nation as a romanticized, backward land called Persia, a place valued mostly for its oil reserves. In 1935, Reza Shah Pahlavi issued a radical directive to every foreign embassy. He demanded the world stop using the Greek name Persia and use the name the people had used for millennia, Iran. This wasn't a whim. It was a move to signal that they were an unbroken nation with ancient roots, not an exotic colony to be managed by outsiders. Today, both names represent a single, unbroken culture. They forced the world, and their own conquerors, to recognize an identity they refused to abandon.